What is up? Today I will be doing my NBA standings prediction like I did last year. And this season I'm gonna try to upload some more videos, try to get some more videos out. But this year I'm doing it a bit differently. Like I already have all the teams here, and I'm just gonna go through why I have these teams here. We'll start off with the East, and then we'll go into the West. I think it's just easier this way because it just takes less time. So at the 15th seed, I have the Washington Wizards. Not much talk about the Wizards. They're obviously in the rebuild right now. Young team. They added some veterans, but they're still going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. Same with the Brooklyn Nets. Young rebuilding team. They have a lot of rookies, a lot of young players. They did get MPJ and some other veterans, but I just think they're going to be bad. The Hornets. Now, this is an interesting one. I just think if they're fully healthy, they do have the potential to make the play, and I'm not going to lie, but the thing is they're never healthy. LaMelo always caps off at like 50 games max, especially these last few seasons. Brandon Miller, I'm a fan of Brandon Miller. He also has injury problems, but if he can stay healthy, the Hornets can, maybe make the play in, but it's a big what if to ask both those guys to stay healthy. That's why I got them at the 13th seed. Let's move on. At number 12, just barely missing the play in, I got the Chicago Bulls. For the last few years, the Chicago Bulls have made the play in, but I think this year the East, there's just some better East teams, and I think this roster is just not very good. I do like Modest Bazell, so I think he's going to take another leap this year into really becoming, that guy in Chicago. They still have Kobe White, Josh Giddey. They have good players, but I just think this team's better than them. And I think it's good for them. I think the Chicago Bulls should be here. I don't think they should be trying to compete for a playing spot because they always end up getting around getting picked um like 10 to 15 when they really should be trying to get a lottery pick, I mean like a top 5 pick so they could really, get a get a real star there and get a real rebuild going. That's what they should be doing. At number 11, I have the Miami Heat. They're going to be missing Tyler Hero for a month and a half. I think they're going to start off really poorly, and I think it's just going to kind of be one of those seasons where they're never gonna find that steam. You know what I mean? They're just always gonna be pretty mediocre because they started off bad. And I just really don't like this roster construction. They have good players. Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, they've played for a long time. They're all-star caliber type of players. Andrew Wiggins, Norman Powell, Yaka Shonez. I mess with the rookie, but I just think this roster construction is very poor. And I just don't think they'll be that good. At number 10, I have the Boston Celtics. I think Boston will barely make the play in. Obviously, they're missing their best player, Jason Tatum, but they also lost Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday. Like, they've lost 3 starters compared to last season. I don't think you guys understand how much of a big blow that is. I know that they still have Jaylen Brown. They added Anthony Simons. Like, they have good pieces there. I just don't think they'll be, good enough to potentially be here or here. I think they'll just barely make the play-in because obviously they have the injury bug. Similar to them, the Indiana Pacers also have the injury bug, obviously missing out on their best player. But I think they'll be good enough to be the 19th, make the play-in because of Pascal Siakam. I think Matherin will take a jump this year as he has more shots and more touches available. I'm very interested to see um Neesmith really play the one this year. Really handle the ball, be the primary guard. We've seen it in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm interested. One thing I'm very interested since both the Celtics and the Pacers are missing their primary number one guy. I want to see Jaylen Brown and Pascal Siakam. I'm just interested to see who's gonna have the better season and who's gonna be better between the players. That'll be interesting to watch. This will be a good play matchup if it happens. At number 8, this is where I have the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, this roster's terrible, but they have one of the best players in the damn world. And if you have one of the best players in the world, you're always just gonna be okay, or you're at least gonna be okay. That's why I got him at number 8. But if you remove Giannis from this team, I mean, they're probably the worst team in the NBA. But Giannis is gonna carry this team, have damn near an MVP season, and I think he'll carry them to the number 8. There's not much to say about this team. I don't like anything on this team really other than Giannis. Miles Turner is cool, but At number 7, I know this might surprise some people, but this is where I have the Detroit Pistons. The reason I have the Pistons here is I think teams have now figured out. Okay, cool. We're going to Detroit. Like, we have to take this seriously. Last year they were a surprise team. So they surprised the NBA, but this year everyone knows how good Detroit is. They seen what they did in the playoffs, a competitive series against the New York Knicks. They seen what they did in the regular season. They could hang, and I think teams understand that now and are gonna take them serious. That's why I got Detroit at number 7. But I could obviously see them being higher, but I just think they'll take a little step back this year. There's nothing wrong with that. At number 6, this is where I have the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, as we already know, are going to have one of the best defenses in the NBA. We've seen it last year. We're going to see it this year. They're going to have one of the best defenses in the NBA. But the one thing about the Orlando Magic, they have the worst three-point shooting in the entire league, and I still think it might not be the worst, but it'll be somewhere in the 20s. I love the Desmond Bain addition. Obviously, I think that'll help with the 3-point shooting, but I just don't think that's enough. And Desmond Bain, don't get me wrong, he's gonna come in there, be a sniper, and be really good. But I just think this roster is missing something offensively. Now, I'm not saying it'd be bad. That's why I got him at the 6th seed. I just think that the lack of 3-point shooting will affect them, like we've seen it last year. And I think just adding one player isn't gonna drastically change the way this team is, even if it is one of the best snipers in the world, Desmond Bain. At number 5, I have the Toronto Raptors, and I know this might surprise a lot of people, but I'm very high on the Raptors. It's not just because I'm a Raptors fan, but I'm very high on the Raptors because last year they were one of the best defenses in the NBA in the second half of the season. The only thing they were missing was half-court shooting. And when you add one of the best half-court scorers in the NBA, in Brandon Ingram, I think this can be a very, very big help for the Raptors. And I think it opens up the game for Scotty Barnes so much more. Scotty Barnes is already one of the most versatile and one of the best defenders in the NBA. In my opinion, he's a top 10 defender in the NBA. And he's one of the best forward playmakers in the NBA. When you add a guy who could score buckets and open the floor like Brandon Ingram can, I think it's just going to elevate Scotty Barnes' game more. And yeah, that's why I got the Raptors at number 5. I know that might surprise a lot of people. RJ Barrett has looked good last year. I think RJ Barrett needs to work on his defense a little bit, but I think he can be a decent defender. Emmanuel Quickley, I think we need to see Emmanuel Quickley like kind of how we seen him in New York, play a little bit more off ball, and I think he will play a little bit more off ball this year. Because obviously Scotty Barnes is gonna have the ball a lot, Brandon Ingram's gonna have the ball a lot, RJ Barrett's gonna have the ball a decent amount. Let's talk about Jakob Poeltl, one of the best, not one of the, whoa, crazy, one of the most solid centers in the whole league. He's not gonna do anything flashy and anything crazy, but he's just solid. He's gonna get it done. And yeah, they have a decent bench. Grady Dick off the bench, Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed, etc. Yeah, that's why I got my number 5. Number 4 is have the Philadelphia 76ers. Once again, another controversial pick, but I just think, and I'm betting on Joel Embiid staying healthy. I'm putting a lot of stocks into that, and I know that's a crazy thing to put in stocks to, but if Joel Embiid can stay healthy, this team can go very far, and I think they could be one of the best Eastern Conference teams. The reason I say that is because the sheer gravity he has when he's out there. He doesn't even have to go out there and score 35. I mean, he obviously is, but I'm just saying, he doesn't have to go there and score 30, 40. Just the gravity alone is insane for Joel Embiid. And if he stays healthy, this team is one of the best in the Eastern Conference. I'm gonna keep it a buck. And Paul George, I'm betting on a Paul George having a bounce back season. Tyrese Maxey, they have some really solid good players. They brought him back Quentin Grimes. Yeah, I think they'll be solid. At number 3, this is where I have the Atlanta Hawks. I think Atlanta had one of the best off seasons. They added Kristaps Porzingis. They added Nikhil Alexander Walker. I think those are two very, very key pickups for them and crucial pickups for them. I think a Jalen Johnson healthy season is an all-star season for him. I think he'll have an all-star berth this year. He's that good if he can stay healthy. And if this team can stay healthy, if him and Kristaps can stay relatively healthy, I think this team's gonna cruise through cruise through the Eastern Conference and be a top 3 seed. At number 2, I got the New York Knicks. I really don't have much to say about the Knicks other than they're just gonna cruise through the regular season. I don't think it's one of those things where it's like is the regular season is much of a worry for them. I just think they're ready for the playoffs. Like they don't really care about the regular season like that. They're just gonna win a bunch of games because they're a really good team. We know what Jalen Brunson is. We know what Cat is. I'm curious to see the rotation and different players' development and how they play in Mike Brown's system. But I think they're gonna be really solid regular season team. Cruise through it. That's why I got my number 2. Similar to the Knicks, the Cavs. The Cavs similar to the Knicks. I think at this point we've seen them meet really good regular season teams. We've seen them win 60 plus games, but for them it's time for the playoffs. I think similar to them, they're gonna cruise through the regular season, and the real test is come playoff time. I think Evan Mobley's gonna take another slight jump this year. He's gonna be a really good player. He's gonna get the ball, I think, a lot more. Donovan Mitchell, we know what Donovan Mitchell does. Darius Garland, this team's really solid. So I got him at number 1. Now let's move on to the Western Conference. I think the worst team, the 15th seed, will be the Utah Jazz. Not much to say other than Ace Bailey is a baller. He has potential to win Rookie of the Year. But yeah, they're gonna be really bad. I'm gonna be honest. At number 14, this is where I have the Sacramento Kings. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on in Sacramento. It's just a bunch of players that just don't fit and don't play well together. They added Russell Westbrook to a team with damn near no space, and I do like individual players on this team. I do like Zach LaVine. I think he had a very, very underrated season last year. I do like DeMar Sabonis, but I just think together, yeah, this is gonna be a hard watch. This is gonna be a terrible watch. And then at number 13, I have the Portland Trailblazers. And honestly, I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna put Phoenix down and Portland up. My bad. I'm gonna honestly put Portland here. So slight change to the list. Okay. So at number 13, I have the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker's gonna go crazy. He's gonna win him a couple games, but the roster is just really bad. I think Jalen Green, he'll go out there, he'll score some buckets, but I just don't think it's a good fit between him and Booker at all. To be honest, we've seen Devin Booker with another guy that needs the ball, another guard that needs the ball, in Bradley Beal, and clearly it wasn't good. I think Devin Booker's gonna obviously have a superstar season. I think he's gonna average damn near 30, but I just don't think this roster's going anywhere. So at number 12, I have the Memphis Grizzlies, and the reason I put Portland over Memphis is because I just don't like this Memphis roster at all. Other than Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr., this roster is terrible. They lost Desmond Bain for almost nothing. I know they got first round picks out of it, but player wise, they replaced him with KCP. Obviously, that's not great value, and I just think if either one of those players go out, I think their season, or one of those players go out for a significant time, I think their season is over. I don't think they'll be really good this year, to be honest. Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr. are already injury prone players, and if one of them are out, I think, like I said, the season is over. At number 11, I got the Portland Trailblazers. The Trailblazers, I think, can even potentially be higher than this. I'm a very big fan of what the Portland Trailblazers have done this offseason. I don't know if you guys seen yesterday. They just signed Shaden Sharp and Tamari Kamaru to very good team friendly deals. $490 for Shaden Sharp and 4 years, $82 for Tamari Kamaru. This is incredible value for how good those players have been and how good they're gonna be for them. Incredible value, and I'm telling you, 3-4 years down the line, they can be like, wow, these guys are some of the most underpaid. Not underpaid, sorry. One of the most best contracts in the NBA. I think Shaden Sharp is going to take a huge leap this year, averaging around 22, 21 points per game. I think they could potentially even make the playoffs. I'm a big fan of Yang Hansen. Yeah, I think Yang Hansen dropped too much in the NBA draft. He's probably my favorite prospect in the whole draft class. Yang Hansen. I just love his game. He reminds me a lot of Sabonis and hear me out. He reminds me a lot of Jokic too. I'm a big fan of what the Portland Trailblazers did. If Scoot Henderson can also take a leap, this team will be really good. And don't forget they do still have Drew Holiday. So I think defensively, him and Tamari Kumar are gonna cause a ruckus. At um the number 10 spot, just making the playoffs, I have the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, Dallas without Kyrie aren't gonna be very good, but I think they'll be solid enough to make the play-in. AD's about to have a monster season if he can just stay healthy. Cooper Flag is gonna be incredible even as a rookie. I think he's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. Playing like that point forward role like we've seen in the preseason where he was playing point forward. I think him and AD are gonna be good enough to get him in the plan. At number 9, this is where I have the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm putting a lot of stock into Zion Williamson. I know that might be really foolish of me, but I think Zion, if he has a healthy season, can propel this team into the play-in. They still have Trey Murphy, they still have Herb Jones, they still have Dejounte Murray, and they still have Jordan Poole. Like they have a really solid team. They have Ease Messi. They have a solid team over there. I think they'll be good enough to make the plan, if obviously Zion can stay healthy. At number 8, I have the Golden State Warriors, the Unkathon. Um, it's an Unk function over there. Steph Curry. And so I have them there. Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler are that good. I think they're a well-oiled ran machine over there. They're gonna play Golden State Warrior basketball. They're gonna win some games, but I just think they're very old. They're just very old, and if one of them, I just think a lot of teams are just gonna outrun them. They're in transition. They're just gonna go out in transition and outrun them. So I think they're gonna lose a lot of games come there. I just think they're a very old team, and we've seen old teams in the NBA not be that successful. But I think they'll be good enough to be the 8th seed because they still have Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time. And number 7, and this might be a little controversial, I have the San Antonio Spurs, and then the reason I have the San Antonio Spurs here is because that alien, that 7'5" demon in San Antonio named Victor Wembanyama is over there, and I think he's gonna have a dark horse MVP season. He is that damn good. I don't know if you guys seen in preseason. He's shooting threes, which we already know. He's shooting the mid range. Now he's posting up like Shaquille O'Neal, putting his back to the basket, playing like, come on. There's nothing this man can't do. He is. I think he is a plus. Like in the betting things, he's already a minus to win DPOI. He already has that damn award unlocked. He averaged like 4 blocks last season. This man is the best defender in the NBA and is going to be incredible this year. I mean, what more can I say about Victor Wembanyama? Dark horse MVP for sure. They're going to have a healthy Fox season, which is De'Aaron Fox is healthy. He's an all-star player. I like the Rook. I like Steph Castle second year. I think he's going to come in and be great. Dylan Harper looked incredible in the preseason. I think he'll be a really solid rookie for sure. And that's why I got my number 7. Number 6, just barely making it, not playing in the play, and I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think Anthony Edwards is gonna carry this team a lot. They brought back Julius Randle. They still have Rudy Gobert there to be that anchor on defense. So there'll always be a decent defense with him and McDaniels. I think there'll be a solid defense if McDaniels can take that jump, another offensive jump. I think that'll be really strong for them. The one thing I do worry is just they don't have a second ball handler. It is literally just Ant, so that's what I worry about them. But I think they'll be really good. So that's why I got my number 6. At number 5, I have the LA Clippers. Similar to Atlanta, they had one of the best offseason. They added a lot of good pieces. Brooke Lopez, John Collins, Chris Paul, etc. I think they'll be a really good regular season team, especially if Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy. If Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy, I can even see them being potentially higher. But if Kawhi Leonard can stay relatively healthy, they'll be a really good play, a regular season team. So I got my number 5. Victor Zubox is also going to take another leap this year, potentially making an All-Star season this year, potentially. You know, he's one of the best centers in the Western Conference. He's just a do-it-all center. He's like the he's like a very, very good version, like the best version of Jakob Poeltl. He's like the best version of what Jakob Poeltl is. No disrespect to Poeltl, but he's like the best version of Poeltl. At number 4, I have the Los Angeles Lakers, and obviously they're missing LeBron for a month and a half, and that's gonna hurt them a lot. But we've seen Luka carry bad teams, and I think he'll do it again. I think last year, with when they had Jackson Hayes as their starting center, the Lakers were really good that second half post All Star break when they got Luka. Now you add instead of it being Jackson Hayes, you have DeAndre Ayton. And I know DeAndre Ayton is not, the most the best center in the NBA. He's not, he's pretty soft, but I think just the difference between Jackson Hayes and DeAndre Ayton it's an insane difference. I like Marcus Smart, and I think Luka's gonna keep him afloat until LeBron comes back, and they're just gonna shoot up, and I think they'll be the 4th seed. At number 3, I have the Houston Rockets. Houston was already such a good team last year, and now you add one of the greatest scorers of all time and Kevin Durant to this team. I think Amen Thompson will take a leap, potentially making an All-Star team. I think he'll be one of the best defenders in the league, and if his offense can be pretty good, that'll be really good for Houston. Elvin Şengün, we've seen him. We know Şengün, he's a damn all-star, but we've seen him take another leap in the Eurobasket, and I think he'll be really solid this year. I think he's honestly one of the most slept-on players. He'll be really good. I know they lost Fred VanVleet, but the way Reed Shepherd has looked in the preseason, man, I don't think they might not need Fred VanVleet, but if he can even be half of what he was in the preseason, shoot the ball 40%, I think they'll be really solid. I think they're gonna be a really solid playoff team. Really solid regular season team. They were already the 2nd team last year, and now they're adding Kevin Durant. The reason they're not second or higher is because I just think some teams got better. And the team I'm talking about is the Denver Nuggets. They replaced MPJ, and no disrespect to MPJ, but he's just not. He just didn't fit that well with Nikola Jokic, and it's crazy to say that because they still won a championship, but now they added a guy in Cam Johnson who gonna do exactly what Jokic needs: play defense and shoot the ball. He's gonna shoot the ball at a 45% clip. He's gonna defend the ball. I know he's not the best defender, but he's a real solid defender. And yeah, they have the best player in the whole league. They have Nikola Jokic. They're gonna be really good in the regular season. But at number 1, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I mean, what can we say about the Thunder? They won 65, 66 games last year. They're gonna cruise. They're gonna cruise control through the whole Western Conference to still be the best team. There's not much for me to say. Chet Holmgren, even if Chet Holmgren might take another jump this year, Shea's gonna be Shea. Yeah, they're just gonna cruise through the whole Western Conference and be the best team. I know championship fatigue is a thing, but with this team, they're young, they're hungry for more championships. I think they'll just cruise through the West. So yeah, this is my official ranking. Let me know what you guys agree with, what you disagree with. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll be back soon. Don't worry, I will be back soon. Maybe I'm not promising anything, but maybe in a week or so. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.